We are live. 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 We are live right now. We are live. 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 Okay, guys, let's start the stream.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Welcome to the stream, boys. Welcome to the stream, boys. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to today's stream, y'all. So today, what we're gonna do, we're gonna continue with where we left off yesterday. So right here we got some more array questions, and then we have some strings questions. Okay, we have some strings questions afterwards. All right, so we left off at this one, find the largest even number. Now we are going to do this one, count numbers greater than x. So we're gonna say we're gonna make a function called greater than x. We're gonna pass in our array. This is we want to find all the numbers, and we want to find all of the numbers in this array which are greater than the number x. Okay, so all right, so basically, how do we find? We're gonna count, or not find, but count the numbers greater than x. So we'll need a variable in which to keep the count. Let's call it counter. We need to loop through the array. So what this maybe you don't solve, maybe you don't use C++, maybe use Python. So this is how we iterate through arrays in C++. First, we set the initial index, then we set, this is the stop condition. So when the index reaches the length of the array, this won't run anymore. And on every iteration, we are incrementing the count. We are incrementing the index, which is gonna get us to the next element in the array. Okay, so now we want to count the element which is greater than x. So let's say if the current element is greater than x, we're going to say counter plus plus. Now this is the same as saying counter plus equal 1 in Python, or counter equals counter plus 1. So if you use Python, you probably use this. If you use JavaScript, you probably use this. or maybe use C++. In that case, you are familiar with this as well. And then finally, we want to return the counter. Okay, and this should give us the uh, the answer right here. All right. Okay. Okay. So okay, now let's test this with this array. So in C++, a vector, this is a dynamic array. So in C++, there are two types of arrays: static arrays and dynamic array. If we define an array like this, we need to if we define an array like this in C++, we need to specify specifically how many elements it is going to have. For example, we cannot set a number n equal to 5 and then say array is gonna be of length n. We cannot say. So this does not work. Instead, for dynamic arrays is vector. This is a dynamic array, so it means you can change its size during the execution of the program. You can change its size during the execution of the program, and with a static array, after we have set the initial size of it, we cannot change it anymore. Okay, we cannot change it anymore. All right, so okay, back to the problem. So we're going to have an array. This is the type. This right here, which we pass in between these angled brackets, is the type of the element which is gonna be in the array. And then we're gonna have the example elements which we got from here, and then we should get. So we're going to see out. This means print. This is like print in Python. So we're going to get the greater than x function. We're going to pass the array in, and we're going to pass in x, which in this case is 4. And now we're gonna say end line. This is basically what gives what this is gonna add a new line. So after this gets printed, this is gonna print a new line, and the cursor is gonna go on the next line. Okay, so let's see, we should get 2. Okay, we get 2. So greater than, let's say we say greater than 2. Let's say we say greater than 5. We should get 1. We should get 1. I think we did okay. And if we say greater than 1, we should get 3. If we say greater than 1, we should get 3. Okay, and then we get 3. So yeah, that's basically it. We set the counter to 0 initially. We loop through the entire array. If any element is greater than x, then we're going to increment the counter. So at first, counter is 0. Okay, let me okay, I'm gonna draw this out. Hold up. I'm gonna draw this out. So array is this. This is our array. These are our elements. And in here, so basically in C++, you cannot, okay, I'm not sure, but I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I do think that in C++, when defining an array, you cannot put different types of, in C++, you cannot put different types, you cannot put characters in of different data types in one array. So something that would be valid in Python is we can do 1, we can do hello, we can do 0.5 like this. But in C++, we need to specify specifically what each element data type is gonna be in the array. Okay, so back to the this is our counter. It's gonna be equal to 0 initially, and for I in range 0 to size of array n, this is gonna loop, and then each time, so first let's say let's say our x is 4. Okay, and the problem is count all elements greater than x. This is the problem statement right here. Let me do something like this. Okay, so x is 4. So when in the first iteration I is equal to 0. Okay, so and then the current element r of 0 is equal to 1. So this right here is not greater than x. Okay, not greater than x. So this means, so do nothing and continue loop. Okay, so do nothing and continue loop. Okay, next so next I is going to be equal to 1. So an array of 1 is equal to 5. Now, is 5 greater than 4? Yes. Greater than x, so increment counter, okay, is greater than x. So we're gonna increment the counter, and we're gonna say counter plus equals 1. So counter is gonna equal to 1. And then we get next up, where is the, okay. So I is going to be equal to 2. Now array of 2 is equal to 9. Okay, array of 2 is equal to 9. So we ask, is 9 greater than x, is greater than 4? So yes, it is. And so increment counter counter plus equals 1, counter now equals 2. Okay, all right, let me try to I think I don't have space here. Okay, okay, we're gonna figure it out. So right now we are on iteration number 2. Is array of 2 greater than 4? Yes, so add 1. Now counter is 2. And then we are on the final iteration, which I is equal to 3. Now array of 3 is equal to 2. So, and then 2 is not greater than 4. So the counter stays the same. So counter stays 2, counter equals 2. Okay, and final answer is equal to 2, which is counter. All right, that's the final answer, and that is why when we put this array as input and we say for, and we are going to get 2. We get 2. Okay, that's basically the whole dry run. That is basically the whole dry run of the code. Hope you guys can understand that. That is the whole dry run of the code. Alright, and we're gonna delete all this. Okay, that's it for that one. Oops. That is it for that one. Done and dusted. That one is done and dusted. So, replace all elements with 0. Modify array in place. Okay, so in place means we are not going to make a new array. We are going to change the elements in the original array. So, let's say in this case we're going to use a void function. A void function does not return anything. It does not return. Void in C++ does not return anything, like anything. No number, no string, etc. So we're gonna make a void function replace with zeros. That's it, right? Yeah. Replace with 0. And then we're going to put the array here. So this right here is called pass by reference. And this will modify the array in place without making a copy of the array. Alright, and basically what we want to do is just loop through the array. We already went through how the looping works. And we're just going to set every element to 0. Okay, so first the element at index 0 will be set to 0. Then the element at index, so first 1 will become 0, then 2 will become 0, and then finally 3 will become 0 as well. Finally 3 will become 0 as well. Okay, so let's test this with, okay, let's say see how we're gonna print a array before like this, and we're just gonna see out, for every number in the array, we're gonna see out that number, and then we're going to say replace with 0 the array, and then we're going to say again, we're going to say see out the array again, and then we should get all zeros. Let's see if this works. So what should that, okay, I didn't put a new line, so yeah, didn't put a new line. Okay, and every element has been turned to 0. So this one, if you haven't if you don't use C++, this might be kind of confusing. Basically, this is just looping. N is basically every element in the array, and then we just print every element. I mean, this auto right here infers what type the array element, the element from this is. We can say int, that this is an integer, and we can explicitly specify that this is an integer because this is an array of integers, but auto infers what type this n should be. Okay, let's put this example as well. And see, we should see that that works for this as well. So so we're gonna say array2 and then array2 and array2, and we should get 3 zeros. Sorry, Shira Fashion World. Hello, Shri Fashion World. Welcome to the stream. That's our range based for loop, right? To be honest with you, I don't know if it's called I don't know if it's I don't know what it's called exactly, but yeah, it is a for loop. I mean, I don't know if it's called a range based for loop, but it's another way of so I couldn't tell you. So yeah. All right. Okay, we did that one. Welcome to the stream though. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay, next one. Guys, like I say every single time, I am not a DSA master. I am not a master at DSA. I am currently learning and I'm just trying to share what I know already. So, keep in mind that sometimes I might not explain things well or even explain things correctly. So, keep that in mind. I know it further expands to begin and end iterator. Yeah, you can do that as well. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you can do that. Yeah, you can use begin and end. Yes. Okay. Find diff. I mean, great job that you know that. Great job that you know that, man. Great job that you know that. Okay, so reverse print, not reverse. Okay, so this is going to be another void function because we're not gonna return anything. Okay, and we're just going to so we want to reverse print the array. If we want to print the array in the usual way, we'll just say like this, and we will just say print each element in the array, right? So this is what we usually do when we want to print an array. We usually say this. Okay, I'm gonna use the that one, and we're just gonna say print. Right now, we're just gonna say print with this, and it's just gonna print the array. Yeah, you're doing great. By the way, good luck. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wish you good luck as well and much success, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Okay. Right now it prints in a regular way. But how are we gonna print from the back to the front? How are we gonna print from the back to the front? So right now, index 0 is the first element, is the first index of the array. What is the last index of the array? The last index of the array is the size of the array minus 1. Okay? So, if we say, let's say the size of the array is array size, array size, and that is array.size. And actually it is better practice to do this so you because it is better practice to sometime to basically put the array of size in a variable sometimes because if you when because on basically if you do not on every iteration this function is going to be called over and over again on every iteration. So on every iteration, we're getting the array size. But if we put it in a variable, we get it only once and then we don't call it on each iteration. Okay? So the the last element is the array.size minus 1. Why? Because if I say array.size of array and say array.size and I say array.size, then what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? I get 0. I get 0. So basically, This, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that this is a garbage value right here. Because the last element, as we can see, is not 0, it's 2. So the array is of size n, it's of length n. So we have 4 elements in this array. But arrays are 0 indexed, meaning the first element is not the element number 0. The the, the second element is element number 1. The third element is element number 2. And the fourth element is element number 3. Okay? So here we need to put -1. And this will give us the last element, in this case 2, at index 3. So this 2 has index 3, and it will give us that. All right, so we're gonna get 2 now. There we go. No garbage value, we get 2. So now that we know this, now that we know that the first element is at index 0 and the last element is at index 3, what do we need to change here in order to print from the last element in reverse order, from the last element to the first element? Yes, we need to change this. We need to say this is going to be array.size -1, or actually let's just do it right here because we don't want to make the we don't want to calculate that every time. So let's just say this here. And right now I is less than array.size, and I is getting incremented. Now this is going to cause an issue. This is going to cause an issue. As we see, we get nothing from this printed. So right now I is the size of the array, meaning that I right now is I is 3. So this is 3 as well. Is 3 less than 3? No. So this condition is not true. When this condition is not true, the body of the for loop is not gonna get executed. Okay? So what we need to say is while is I greater than or equal to 0. In that case, yes, we'll print. But if we just say greater than or equal to 0, we will get another issue. We will get another issue. As we can see, this started printing basically infinitely. So first, we printed 2 because that's the last element in the array. Then we started printing some sort of garbage values. And this basically the code stopped this because we started 3. We check while, and this is gonna run while, and 3 is going to be, so basically we start at 3 and then we check is 3 greater than or equal to 0? Yes. So what we do is we increment I. So then I becomes I plus 1, which becomes 4. Then on the next, and then we print. So, and then on the next iteration, I is 4. That is why we started at index 3. There is something at index 3, but at index 4 there is nothing. There is nothing at index 4 because this array only has 4 elements and the indices are 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Okay? So, and then this is an infinite loop because we keep incrementing. We keep incrementing. The condition to stop is I greater than or equal to 0. And this is always going to be true because we keep on incrementing. So what do we want to do? We want to decrement. On every loop, we want to decrease the value of I by 1. And we are going to see now that this works. We're going to see now that this works. As we can see, we get the element, the array printed in reverse order, 2951. 2951. Reverse the conditions. I mean, of yeah, man, you got it. Good job, man. You got it. You got it. Yeah. That is what we have to do. That is what we have to do. Okay. Okay. So hope that was clear. Hope that was clear. All right. Okay. Okay. I hope that was clear. Okay. The next one. Find the difference between maximum and minimum. Track maximum and minimum in same loop. All right. This one isn't hard. Okay. Okay. All right. So difference between maximum and minimum. That means we need to find the maximum element in the array, then we need to find the minimum element in the array, and we need to subtract the minimum element from the maximum element. So in this case, the maximum element is 10, and the minimum element, the greatest element is 10, and the smallest is 1. 10 minus 1, that's 9. Okay, that's 9. So we're going to say we're going to say indifference is going to be our array and then initially we're going to set greatest to array of 0 and smallest also to array of 0. Okay, then we're going to loop through the array like we already have done, and if we find any element which is greater than the current greatest element, if any element which is greater than the current greatest element, we will say that greatest and is now set to this element. This means that the we set the greatest to a new element which is greater than the one that we already have. Now, if we find any element that is less than the smallest element, we will say that the smallest element is equal to that element. Okay? All right? Hope one day you will what you want to be. Good luck with your C++ journey. Thank you so much, Shiraf. Thank you so much, Free Fashion World, man. You're so nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. I hope the best for you too, and that you achieve all of your goals as well, man. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, all right, all right. So, yeah, this is basically, and then the answer is going to be max greatest minus smallest, and then we're just gonna return that. Return that. Don't worry, we're going to dry run this in a second. Just make sure, just let's make sure that it works first. Just let's make sure that it works first. Let's make sure that it works. So we're going to say difference of array, and this, when we print this, we should get 9. We should get 9. Oh, where's my smallest? Okay, so I can mess something up. Okay, if array I greater than greatest, greatest smallest. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, I did this again. I did this yesterday too. So right now I am shifting this to the right. So I need to say less than. That is a bitwise operator. You guys don't need to worry about what that is. But that's a typo. Let's now it should work. We should get 9. There we go. We get 9. Okay. Hello, bro. I'm started learning Python, so how can I start DSA? DSA is new for me. What I would recommend you is to search up learn DSA roadmap. Okay, I'm going to write you. Search up learn DSA roadmap. Search up learn DSA roadmap, and that is going to give you some resources which are going to give you uh, what you need to learn. Okay. Also, Neurostar, welcome to the stream. Neurostar, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Okay. All right. So we did this. This works. Let's check though if it does really. So this should give me 4. No, this should give me 7. Should give me 7. Okay, seems to work. Okay. Let's dry run this now. Let's dry run this now. So what is the problem statement? The problem statement is find minimum difference between the biggest and smallest elements in the array. Okay, and this is our array. This is our array which we're gonna dry run, through. Okay, make sure that there's not too many elements. So initially, first by default, we're going to say that the greatest element of the array is by default array the first element, so that after we start looping through the array, we have elements which we can compare against. Now that we have greatest set to something, we can compare each next element in the array to greatest, and we can check if that character is greater than greatest, then we're set it's that number to greatest. Okay. Okay. So let's dry run this. So initially, greatest is going to be set to array, and it's the same for smallest. Okay, we set smallest initially to the first element so that we have something to compare against. Okay, which is equal to also 3. Okay, now we loop. Now the size of the array n is equal to 4. Okay, so we loop from 0 to 3 inclusive, because there are 4 elements in the array, which means that their indices are going to be from 0 to 3. Okay, their indices are going to be from 0 to 3. So let's say I equals 0, I equals, no, let's see. Say 0, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's 0, that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Okay, they kind of misplaced. Okay, that's gonna be, so this is 3 is the element at index 0, 10 is the element at index 1, 6 is the element at index 2, and 1 is the element at index 3. All right, so we loop from 0 to 3 inclusive. Okay, and on each iteration we check. First we check is, first we're at 0, so is array of 0, which is equal to 3, greater than greatest, which is equal to 3. Well, it's not, so we do nothing. Next we have the next check. Is array of 0, which is equal to 3, greater than, no, actually less than smallest, which is equal to 3. And actually right here we don't need to start from the 0th index, we can straight up start from the first index, since basically we already set greatest and smallest to the zeroth element, but let's keep this from the zeroth index. Okay, so this is when I is equal to 0. This is the zeroth iteration. Or something, I don't know much. I mean, I can't use a drawing board because I don't have like a tablet or like anything. I don't have a tablet and I don't have a pencil to write with. So I need to use paint because I don't have a tablet to draw on. Okay, so then I is gonna be equal to 1. Now, is array of 1, which is equal to 10, greater than greatest, which is 3? Yes, so we are going to set we are going to set we are going to set going to set now greatest is going to be equal to 10. Okay, greatest is going to be equal to 10. Now we're going to check is array of 1, which is again equal to 10. We're going to check if it is smaller. It is if this is smaller than smallest. So no, it's not. No, it's not. So we don't do anything. So we don't do anything. Okay. Now we are then at index 2. We are then at index 2. Now we check is array of 2, which is equal to 6, greater than greatest. So no, so we do nothing. So we do nothing and then we check. Okay, okay. We check then we check is array of 2, which is equal to 6 less than, which is equal to 6 less than smallest, which is right now 3 still. So this is no again. So we do nothing here. Nothing happens again. And finally, when I is equal to 3, we're going to check is array of 3, which is equal to 1, greater than 10. So no, we do nothing, and then we check is array of 3 less than smallest, and this is yes. So this is finally a yes. So smallest becomes equal to 3, no, not 3, 1, and then that's it. That is how we get greatest and smallest, and then finally we say ans is equal to greatest minus smallest, which is equal to 10 minus 1 in this case, which is equal to 9. Okay, in this case, and then that is why, and here we get, when we run this, we get 9. Okay, that's it for that one. That is it for that one, done and dusted. Okay, all right, next one. All right, guys, I think I have already explained like pretty well how the looping process works. So from now on, I won't be explaining every iteration. I won't be explaining every iteration, at least for these next few ones. So now we're gonna count. Now we're gonna count zeros. So we already counted something else. What was it? What was it? We counted something else. We counted all the elements greater than x. So this is basically almost the same, but we just count every element which is a zero. So we just loop through, and then we have a check if the element is equal to zero. And when you are making checks, so this is how you assign a variable, and this is how you check if two values are the same. So if the element is zero, we're going to increment the counter, and then we just return the counter as the answer, and that is pretty much it, and that should work. Keep going right here too. Hey, my boy, what's up with you, bro? What's up with you, my boy? How you been, man? How you been? How you been? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. How you been? What are you up to? Any Are you building any app? Are you building any new interesting apps right now? Are you building something right now, man? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so all right, where was I? Okay, we're here. All right, we're here, and yeah, that's basically how that works. Uh, let's get this one. Get this. Then we're just gonna say, what is it? Count zeros. Okay, let's actually move. Let's move this below here, and we're gonna just say like this. And now this should give me 3. Should give me 3. And now I should get 4. Okay. And now let's delete some. And now I should get 1. We should get 1, and that should be it for this one. Okay, find first element that, wait, what? Just for index 0. Trivial beats confidence, but builds confidence. I mean, so yeah, we already went through how ODL. We already explained how the elements in the array are zero indexed. I mean, we just need to print the zeroth element, and this is gonna be it. That's gonna be, oops, misspell. Okay, now, okay, this is gonna be that, and now let's we did those ones, and then now we have the string, some beginner string problems. Okay, no DSA patterns for these ones. Okay, all right, so let's get started with the first one. So this one, we need to just print each character like this. All right, so we just no, this is a void function because we don't return anything. We're gonna pass in our string, and then we can just say, okay, I was gonna write it as a shorter one, but we're just gonna do, so there are two ways to get the size of the string. We can use as dot size, or we can use as dot length. For simplicity, let's use as dot size because it's similar to getting the length of an array, and you can't get the length of the array with you cannot get the length of the array with size. No, you cannot get the length of the array with length. At least I'm pretty sure. Let's check. Let's check. Let's see. Whatever. One this or something, and then let's do something like this, and pretty sure we're gonna get an error if we try to say the length. Pretty sure, yeah, unexpected. Oh, oops. Okay, let's see now. We shouldn't be able to get it. Yeah, class std vector has no member named length. Now if we remove these, this is not gonna work either. Yeah, no member length, but for arrays you can use, for vectors you can use size to get their length, and this is 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah. Okay, so back to this one, we just want to print out. So strings can be the characters in a string can be. Thanks for the shout out. Just brainstorming some ideas right now and enjoying the stream. Hey, thank you so much for joining, man. I appreciate you. I wish you good luck with all your. I wish you good luck with the brainstorming. Okay, so now we're just gonna do this. So yeah, you can iterate through a string kind of similarly like through an array. Like strings are also zero indexed. And now let's just, what's the example is hello. The example is hello, and we're just gonna print this. We're gonna say print chars of s. Yeah, we get the answer. Okay. Count the length of a string without using length. Okay, this is just, we already like get, let's say get started length. We already did some counting ones, so we're just gonna make a counter, and we're just gonna loop through the string. Just gonna loop through, and then we're just gonna increment on each iteration, and then we're just gonna return the length, the counter, or maybe we can, what was it called? Length for the string. Let's see if we can call it length, I guess. And then this should work. This should work. Get stir length like this. Okay, we get 5. Let's add some stuff here. All right, and okay, we get 7. Okay. All right, you know what? I actually solved one. I actually solved a code forces problem before starting the stream. So we can. These problems are kind of basic. Like, let's try to look at something more interesting. So I solved. Let me just open it up. Make sure that I don't dox my email. Okay, we're good now. Okay, so now we are on code forces, and we have this right here. So this is an 800 rated problem. Basically, this is the lowest rating. It's a strings problem. So Let me try, and I think I saved it in my projects here so I can show you guys. Okay, so let's go over this. So what is the problem statement? The problem statement is you have a block in a string as a contiguous substring of characters of the same type that cannot be extended either to the left or to the right. For example, this string, there are 5 blocks. So A is the first block, B is the second, C the third, D the fourth, and A the fifth. You are playing a game where you are given a string s of length n. You can cyclically rotate the string however you want. Your score is then calculated as the number of blocks in the final string. Find the maximum score possible. So basically, what are we trying to do? We are trying basically, so every time the character changes, we need to increment our count, and that is basically our score. So we can see here we have A, B, C, D, E, right? So first we have A. This is like a separate entity. So first we have A. That means our score is gonna be 1. Then we have B. That means the score is gonna be 2 now. We have C, 3. We have D, 4. We have E, 5. Now if we see some of these examples, we can see that when characters repeat one after the other, the score is not going to increment. So this right here is going to have only a score of 3. It's going to have a score of 3 because we have A, then we have these 2 B's, and then we have A. So this is 1, 2, 3, and that is one of the scores. And basically we want to get the maximum score. So, and we can each time formally choose an index I and replace the string with string this, so we can rotate. For example, the string can be rotated to this string by choosing I equals 3. So how does this rotation work? Basically, this is 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and then 3, this is third. And basically we rotate all the characters from this index until the end of the string inclusive. And that's why we see that D and E go to the front, and then it's followed by A, B, C. So first D got added to the front, or wait a sec. Yeah, first D gets added to the front, then E gets added to the front, and then all of the characters which are not flipped, we just append those to the end. So we can say that this is our new rotated string of D and E, and then we just append all of the characters from the original string until this index I, which in this case is 3. Okay, so all right, okay, let's see. Yeah, you guys can see. Okay, now let's go over the code. So this is the code right here. So we are basically just get our data first, then we keep an array with all the scores. Now here we keep a new string rotated. We say that, so basically we have to rotate the string in all ways possible. So first we are going to rotate from index 0, then we are going to rotate from index 1, then from index 2, then from index 3, like in here, and that is going to be until the last index. So we set j to this, and then we add from I until the end. So if it's on the 0th iteration, j is going to be equal to 0, and then we are basically rotating by 0 in this case. So we're going to add all of the elements as they are in the original string, and then we're going to set j to 0 again, and like this we're going to add all of the elements until that element I, which is where we rotated, into the rotated string. Okay, and also finally we're going to keep track of the score for each string. So we set, so basically we set the score initially to 1, because there is a case where we get past a string that is only consistent of one type of character. So we can get AAA, we can get A, we can get BBB, we can get ANA. So this is for this case. And then we set the current character to the first one. Okay, then we start a loop until this begins from the first index until the end of the rotated string. And if this is basically how we get the score, this is basically how we get the score. So let's say we have ABC, and first we're going to be at index. So first score is equal to 1, and then current is equal to A, right? Then we are at, so then the element at index K is going to be B. So then we're gonna increment the score. It's gonna be 2, and then current is gonna be B. Then on the next iteration, the current elements in the rotated string and current is gonna be the same, which both are gonna be B. So we're not gonna increment the score. And then finally, when we're at the last one, it is C. So then the score becomes 3 and current becomes C. And that is basically, and then we push this score inside the scores array. And finally, after we get all the scores, we just get print out the maximum score, and that's basically our answer. And this is the brute force approach. Now, I don't know if this is the most optimal way to do this, but that is how I solve this pretty much. And yeah, that's basically that. So, I mean, guys, we thank you guys so much for 170 subscribers, by the way. And guys, we have already been streaming for over an hour, so that's gonna be it for today's stream. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and thanks for joining. And I'ma see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, thank you for joining. I'ma see you tomorrow. Peace out.